Wealth Strategy Podcast with our host, Alan Porter. Alan, what's going on, man? How are you?
Well, it's a beautiful day in North Carolina. My wife went to vote today, and my granddaughter, and my wife got there. My granddaughter waited 3 hours to vote.
And how many weeks away we are? I guess 19 days away from the election. Yep. 19 days to the biggest election, but it's not going to be solved till January. So that's, I mean, unless we start seeing some of these changes happening where somebody is just literally pulling a Hillary and it's not Trump. All right, first question. Today's topic, the big difference. Okay. And so, Alan, what do you mean by that?
Well, Neil, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to bring up a white paper that I wrote, and I'm going to show you the big difference. And this makes a big difference in everybody's life when they understand it.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the big difference between cash value life insurance and a 401k or any other qualified plan like a 403b or anything like that. And I found out about this over a decade ago when I first got into insurance. But I tell people when I give my educational conferences, I don't charge for any of my conferences or anything, but I want to educate people out there because they don't know about this. I would say, Neil, 95 to 99% of the people, to include CPAs, attorneys, and financial advisors, have no idea about cash value life insurance and what it does. But I'll give you an example. Let's say that you put in $1,000 a month, or I'm asking people, I said, would you rather put $1,000 a month in or $10,000 a month in for a $500,000 death benefit in an insurance policy? Well, everybody comes back $1,000. I said, well, why is that? Well, Alan, it's cheaper. I said, I understand that. But understand, this line is set by the actuaries of the insurance company. Okay? That's term insurance. You can put as much money in term insurance as you do in a cash value life insurance up to life expectancy. And if you live one day past life expectancy, guess what? There's no cash value. But you can have the same amount of money in this cash value life insurance policy, which is an index universal life or a whole life insurance policy. And that death benefit may be $1.5 million. And you've got $800,000 or $900,000 in a tax-free bucket of money that you become your own bank. Now, there used to be no lineup here until the late 1980s. But the people, the politicians, the people who knew the tax codes, the wealthy, the banking institutions would put, I'm going to give you an exaggerated concept here, but they put $1 million in for a $500 death benefit, $500,000 death benefit. But of course, you don't need that $1 million in there. But all that money was growing tax deferred and already getting their distributions tax free. And the government says, oh my gosh, we can't have this anymore. We're losing too much revenue. So what the government did is they put a line in here in the late 1980s. And it states if you put more money in a life insurance contract than what the government allows, it becomes what we call a modified endowment contract. And you lose all your tax advantages. And that's absolutely huge in this. But what I do is I build maximum efficient contracts. I'll put the least amount of death benefit with the most amount to the cash value to let it grow. Because it's not like a 401k. You can access it any time. And I'll go through these benefits. Now, I ask people, I said, why do you contribute to a 401k? Well, they all tell me it's tax deferred. Well, I said, cash value life insurance can be tax deferred also when it's set up the proper financial vehicle. And the next thing I asked them, I said, what about tax deferred growth? They said, well, my qualified plan is tax deferred. And they said, yeah, you're right. And I said, but understand this. Cash value life insurance is also tax deferred. And I said, what financial vehicle gives you tax-free distribution? And everybody comes back at me and said, well, Alan, my Roth 401k, my Roth IRA. And I said, so does cash value life insurance.
See, that's interesting, Alan, because people just don't know this is a financial vehicle.
Well, I have a lot of people ask me, aren't municipal bonds and educational bonds tax-free and tax deferred? No, they're not. They are maybe tax-free, tax deferred, but they're not tax-free when it comes to the taxation of Social Security, the means testing for Medicare Part B, which will be in the thousands. Now, here's the other thing. high contribution limits. The government set a limit on everything you put into qualified plan. Now, I deal with multimillionaires. I've did multi-million-dollar policies, and there is a limit on how much you can put in. But I've never written a contract like that. I'd like to sometime and pare it down, but you can put as much money into a life insurance policy as what the insurance company allows. But here's another thing. Long-term care, people aren't prepared for long-term care. And long-term care right now costs between $50,000 to $200,000 a year, and it goes up by 6% every year. And 70% of Americans are going to be on long-term care at some point in their life. 40% of Americans right now, between the age of 18 and 64, are on long-term care right now. But it's just unbelievable that people don't know about this. But they don't think they're going to need long-term care. But here's another thing that I found interesting, Neil, is people, if they've got disability insurance, that's great. But disability insurance is extremely expensive. And it's just like term life insurance. If you live in term life insurance, you live past life expectancy, there's no cash value. But let's say you bought that disability insurance when you're 50 and you die in your sleep at 69 of a heart attack. All that money's gone. You can have the same the same long-term care options with a death benefit for pennies on the dollar. It'd be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in a death benefit that you can use tax-free for long-term care. And that includes disability. But the other thing, Neil, which is great about this, and I've been doing this for over a decade, the collateral opportunities. You can use cash value life insurance as collateral with any major financial institution as collateral.
Oh, really? I don't think we've ever mentioned that. So you can take that as part of your collateral for loans and stuff.
Yes. But if you've got a policy properly set up and enough money in that cash value, you don't have to get a loan from a bank. You become your own bank, borrow from yourself, pay yourself back, compounding interest for you and not the financial institutions, and eliminating the effective interest costs you pay on the money you borrow. Now, understand this, Neil. Let's say that you built your policy up for a while and you got a couple $100,000 in the cash value. And just like myself, I went and borrowed money and I bought my new car here about a month ago. I'm paying myself back, and in 3 years, I'll have a new car paid for, but I'll have tens of thousands of dollars more in my cash value because that loan that I took does not affect the cash value. That continues to compound. What it does, it's a lien against the death benefit. You don't even have to pay the loan back if you don't want to, but it's guaranteed loan option. You have unstructured loan payments. You can pay it back $100 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever you want to do. You're in control of the situation. But it's safe harbor. We are guaranteed by contract never to have a loss due to a market downturn because we are not tied to the market. We have fixed rates. We have index rates, and there's all kinds of indices such as the S&P 500 index, the Barclays Dynamic Balance Index, the Euro Index. I believe there's over 175 out there right now, and each insurance company will have a different one, and some of them have the same. But the thing that people don't understand is the liquidity, use control of your money. And I spoke about this at Harvard. I told one guy, I said, you've got this money at Harvard. You got this money. And I asked people, I said, would you rather have your mortgage paid off or mortgage to the hilt, but have access to a financial entity such as cash value life insurance? Well, they all said, I want my mortgage paid off. I said, well, that's great. But what if you lose your job? What if you become disabled? You can't go to the bank and get a loan to pay the taxes or the insurance. You're going to lose your house and ruin your credit. I said, you don't have to worry about that because if you have money in a financial entity such as cash value life insurance, you borrow from that and you pay your taxes. You keep your house. You keep your credit. You have liquidity, use control of your money. That's the big thing, Neil. But understand this. It's great for college in two ways. It's the greatest college funding vehicle out there. I've got 2 whole life policies for my granddaughters right now. And, I have many people, Neil, ask me, well, why is it better? Well, first off, you're not relying on the market. Just like, think about 2009. If you had $100,000 in your your 529 plan and you had your son or daughter go into college the next year, and that 2008, I mean, some people had a 38 to 52% loss in the market. A 50% loss in the market takes 100% gain just to get back to even. So now you've got got $50,000 less money. What are you going to do? Got to go to a new college or whatever. I mean, there's many other options. It does not count when you go to apply for aid. I can't remember what it's called. If you got money from a 529 plan, that counts as money when you're trying to apply for loans or grants or anything. Cash value life insurance doesn't. You cannot be sued for it. It's protected from lawsuits, liens, and judgments. I've got many doctors all across the United States that have policies just for this one benefit. It avoids probate. I ask people, do you know what probate is? I got a definition for it. It's a lawsuit that's initiated by you that you're going to pay for and you're going to lose, because Prince the Entertainer did not have any exit plan when he passed away unexpectedly. And what the government's done, they've seized his assets. And they're going to sell them to pay off the taxes on his estate. His family will get probably maybe 15 to 25% of that. And then the attorneys are going to get 6 to 12% of that estate for legal fees. That's crazy. But it's income and estate tax free. It's the greatest wealth building vehicle, wealth transfer vehicle available today. Many multimillionaires, they don't need the insurance, but they need a financial vehicle to pay the taxes so the beneficiaries can keep their assets. When I tell people about this, they said, Alan, this is something I've never heard of. And I had people tell me, well, Alan, it sounds too good to be true. Well, it's not too good to be true. It's too good to be free. But I educate people on this, Neil. And when I get done, they've got an option now. Instead of listening to the propaganda of Wall Street about the only place to put your money is in the 401k for your retirement. Because as far as I'm concerned, the insurance companies have the best tax code approved, tax-free retirement system available today, bar none.
You laid everything out today, Alan. Is there anything else to add for today's conversation?
Well, basically, if people want to hear more about this, they can contact me at 910-551-1046 or email me at strategicwealth, the number 0 at gmail.com. Or they can always go to my website. I have a plethora of information there. It's www.strategicwealthstrategy.com.
All right. That was the Strategic Wealth Strategies podcast, guys. Take care.